Well, howdy, folks. DaveMan here again, Rollman Revolution. We have to talk about something kind of important. I mean, in the grand scheme of the matrix that we're living in, I guess it's not really that important. Well, most things really aren't that important in this case, but the fact that we have to pay attention to them, the fact that they're throwing them in our face every single day, kind of forces us, in a sense, to have to pay attention to this stuff because it's unavoidable at this point. Majority of the shit we have to endure every single day is unavoidable. You think about it. I mean, I turn on the news or just turn on the television. Just about every headline, just about every story that you're talking about is just the worst possible idiosyncrasy you could possibly imagine. Think about all of the crap that's kind of going on. We have wars going on overseas right now, disturbances. The United States is being drawn in to another full-scale war with Iran, of course, from our greatest ally, always trying to, nudge the bear and poke the bear in Washington, D.C. And guess what? Who do you think's going to fight that war? If God forbid, the United States is stupid enough to engage themselves in another overseas conflict, who the hell do you think is going to be partaking in that conflict? Oh, that's right. American citizens are going to have to fight in another overseas war in a land that we have no business in a land that we have no preparation in order to fight in. Do you remember Afghanistan? Do you remember Iraq? Do you remember how successful all of that was? Yeah, we didn't know what the hell to do after we, seized everything and just about everything turned to shit. And now we're going to go over to Persia, and a country massive in size, mostly mountains as hills. It's very hard to get in, and it's filled 80 million people. And our greatest ally wants you and me to go fight in their war to create regime change. I find this to be completely and utterly just insane. The fact that anybody could even keep offering this idea. Well, we just got over one war. Here's another one. We're going to serve this one to you on a platter. Does it not seem to you that our entire world, the entire thing, everything, we know it's a drama, but do you know who's orchestrating this drama? Do you have any idea who actually is running this shit? Well, it's very simple, in my opinion. See, the United States, everybody thinks the United States kind of went downhill just after the Kennedy assassination. And I would admit to you that that's kind of where the CIA squeezed and seized hold over just about everything. But the United States, in and of itself, ceased to exist when the United States decided to go on the Federal Reserve System. Once you gave control of a private bank entity the ability to print the United States' currency and control the United States' flow of cash, well, that's when you basically gave up everything that the United States once was. We never needed a Federal Reserve before 1913. So the fact that they snuck it in during Christmas break while everybody was away at home with their families, and they had just enough people sitting around, staying back, the Zionists staying back, we created this Federal Reserve Rothschild banking system. And from that moment on, you could see the direction in which the money was pushed and flowed throughout those decades. Now, just after World War II, if you haven't listened to the small little thing by General Smedly Butler, well, back in the 1940s, there was an underground coup that was actually going on in the United States with a group of people outside the government that was trying to form a group of American military people to get up to 100,000 people, and they were going to try to overthrow the government. Now, many people don't know this about history, but Smedly Butler, General Smedly Butler, released a statement indicating that this is what he was asked to do. Was anybody arrested? No, of course not. Was anyone ever brought out in front? No, of course not. Everything was just swept under the rug. And in 1948, the CIA was created. In 49, Israel, or 47, 48, and 49, you had CIA, then Israel, then Mossad, right? But everything really changed in America just after the Kennedy assassination. See, when Kennedy tried to take away what they themselves were using and put into place to control all of these mechanisms, remember Eisenhower warned everybody about the military-industrial complex? You want to know who really controls the world you see? It's not the President of the United States. It's not all of these little leaders here and there, your Secretary of State, the department. Those people are just titles. They were titled. Now, granted, those are the people that we believe as citizens are the ones that are in control and have all the decision-making capability. But it's not the reality. See, the reality is your intelligence apparatus, your CIA, your Pentagon, your Federal Bureau of Investigation, your 17 intelligence agencies. Now think about that. 17 intelligence agencies we have here in the United States. And you think that each one of those agencies isn't bidding for more power and more control over every situation? Just look at the shit that's going on in Minneapolis right now. The color revolution here in the United States. See, most Americans just think, oh, it's just a disgruntled war against blacks and whites and immigrants and whites and Americans and non-Americans. And that's just all of the bullshit that they've thrown on top of the pile. This has all been created by your intelligence apparatuses, all been created by the people that you put into power, these Democrats and Republicans that you think are working for you. They don't work for you. They are told what to do. They are suggested, highly suggested, hey, you better do this. Otherwise, we're growing a little concerned about how you're thinking, Mr. Senator or Mr. Representative. We wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you. So we're just growing really concerned. Why is it that you're not, listening to what we're telling you to do? And this is the conversation that goes on. And let me roll this into the whole Charlie Kirk thing, because I don't know if you yourself have been paying attention to this, but it really doesn't matter. Like I said, in the grand scheme of all of this, it's a big fucking drama. You and I both know that. However, it's how the drama is being presented to us. It's one thing to present bullshit, and we know it's all bullshit. But when you can prove that the bullshit that they are telling you is in fact bullshit, and yet they keep pushing it forward, saying, no, you're stupid idiot. You're just a dumb moron. Stop being a moron. This is the truth. Just listen to the truth. This is the truth. That's the reality that they keep pushing towards us now. It's so irritating to have somebody sit there in front of you when you know they're flat out lying to you and just keep talking. Just keep running their little fucking mouth. You just want to punch them in the face, don't you? Because you know that you're being lied to, and they know that they are lying to you, but they just don't give a shit. They say, you know what? This is what we're going to give you, and you're going to eat it, and you're going to like it because we have the power. Your intelligence apparatuses have the power. And how do I know that? Just look at Turning Point USA. Right. Now, Charlie Kirk, whether you believed he was shot, whether you believe it's a whole hoax, whatever the belief story you mean, Charlie Kirk is no longer there for a particular reason. And if you followed the timeline that most people did, and you really did some of the research, you really did look behind the backstory of this, the whole Turning Point USA thing you thought was a really good thing. And it was, because Charlie Kirk was the guy there who was trying to create those arguments, trying to have dialogue with people. And that's the key, dialogue. He was trying to have conversations about specific issues that didn't make any sense. Like, for instance, the trans issue. One of those big issues where people are cutting off their bits left and right. And, he's arguing with kids on college campuses about this. But that's not the big problem. The big problem was a guy like Charlie Kirk basically came out of nowhere, if you think about it. He was known to be a very smart kid at a very young age, and this is how the intelligence apparatus actually works. You ever hear of those specialty schools or those gifted school programs? How do you think those schools and those programs are monitored? You don't think that the United States intelligence apparatus is keeping close tabs on the education system to find out which kids in particular are actually going above and beyond and excelling or doing things that other kids just don't have the capability of doing? Yeah, every once in a while you have these brilliant young kids that stand out above the crowd. And Charlie was one of them. But this is the one thing about intelligence. It's better to control the person that your target is, rather than just letting them run the gambit. So they grabbed a hold of Charlie Kirk at a very young age. And they basically told him, hey, look, if you stick with us, We're gonna get your message, son. You are a smart guy and you have a lot to say and we believe in what you say. And we're gonna get you an organization and we're gonna build you up. And that's exactly what Turning Point was. They built the organization up around Charlie because Charlie literally was that spokesperson. He was the talent, right? Everybody else around him, however, were the ones feeding him, protecting him. And as a young man, as many people who get involved in these political or Hollywood, they don't realize when they go into these organizations that there are handlers, agents. When you go to Hollywood, what's the first thing you got to get? You got to get yourself an agent, right? You have to get yourself an agent so that agent can find you work in the Hollywood sectors, right? Politics is no different. It's about rubbing elbows with people. It's about knowing somebody else. I know that guy who knows this guy who knows this guy who knows this girl who can get you into that thing, right? To be part of the club. See, Charlie had all these ambitions, was a very smart guy, and had a direction. And whether you agreed on some of the issues or not, he was genuine in his approach to trying to want to help people. But once Charlie started to step back, like so many of us all have throughout our life, and re-examine the people around us, the things around us, and the things people are saying to us that are around us, well, Charlie started to realize many of the things that so many of us knew long before he did about our greatest ally over in the Middle East, who likes to infiltrate and manipulate American affairs, American politics, and American social media. So on October 7th, the big old day, I call it Israel's 9/11, all of a sudden, more things started going in motion. And even Charlie Kirk, who had been to Israel multiple times, said that's just kind of odd that October 7th happened the way that it did, considering the fact that Israel in and of itself is the most protected country in the world. You could go down there right now and you will see an IDF soldier every so many feet, especially across the Gazan border or anywhere where there was need for protection. There was always somebody there. But on October 7th, that day in particular, everybody shit the bed. Everybody failed. Everybody just turned in their keys and said, you know what, we're not working, we're not paying attention, we're not doing anything. Just like 9/11. The same scenario. In order for 9/11 to happen the way that it did, everybody that day who was in positions of leadership, who had responsibilities to be made, all failed. And they all failed in syncrecy. They all failed the exact same time, and they had to fail the exact same. It's a coordinated effort. In order for something to carry out itself the way that it did, everybody had to play along. And I think Charlie started to come to the understanding that so many of us all have, that the greatest ally that has been meddling in the affairs of the United States for many, many decades had been lying to him. And because, as a young man, he didn't realize that the people around him weren't his friends. Many of those people were his handlers, were intel operators, basically trying to wag the dog and push Charlie to whatever meeting, whatever group, whatever campus they needed him to go. But once you started seeing Charlie unravel, just after the SAS event in Tampa, the Student Action Summit, which I was very fortunate enough to be able to attend, okay? I decided to attend this event, never attended a TPUSA event before, and I decided to attend this event simply because I knew Tucker Carlson was going to be speaking there, and I knew that Dave Smith was going to be debating Josh Hammer that day, on Sunday. And I sat in that audience, off to the side, watching that debate unravel. And I will tell you, the audience, in and of themselves, were energized. You could see Charlie's face on the stage. He was energized. Because I think that debate happened because Charlie, in and of himself, came to the same conclusions that all of us were already there thinking about. Our greatest ally. And he wanted to see it play out on that stage to see if the audience was right where he was as well on that issue. And I think the answer was very well made known on that day, because you could tell that many of the TPUSA staff, I was looking at some of the staff off to the side now and to the back of the stage there, and it just seemed like there was an energy shift that happened after that for the positive of the audience. The audience was just enjoying it and living it up, but you could see that something there, especially amongst the donors, was just something wasn't going to be the same. And a few months later, you heard about this whole get-together that Charlie had apparently up in, I don't know, it was in the Hamptons or whatnot, and a lot of his so-called friends were sending him text messages or sending him, these messages, hey, we're really worried about you. Are you sure you're okay? Because we're really not concerned. We're really concerned, Charlie, about the ideas that you've been spreading and the associations. You're hanging out with Tucker and you're letting Dave Smith come on your shows and you're talking about all of this, anti-Israel stuff. We just don't like the direction your stuff is going there. And he was just asking questions like, look, I'm having a debate. I had both sides on the stage. I had Dave Smith, who was talking about the anti-Israel and the pro-America side, and we had the Josh Hammer, who was talking about the pro-Israel Zionist, side. So both sides were represented. Both sides were given equal, but they said, we don't want to have that argument. We don't want the American people to have that argument or to see that argument. And Charlie said, no. Conversation is how we get at it. That is what made Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk the person that he was. Open dialogue. Never stop the dialogue. But when an intelligence apparatus is directly involved in the thing that you are seeing, well, when it's not going in the direction in which the intelligence apparatus wants us to go, well, they have to cut ties, don't they? And TPUSA becoming the organization that it was going to be bringing in millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from these pro-Israel Zionist organization and donors. And Charlie said no. Charlie says, no, I'm not going to be told what to say, and you're not going to use my organization as a means to drive what it is you want to say if I don't agree with it. We're going to have a debate, we're going to have an open dialogue, and that's it. And because of Charlie's stance on that, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, he was killed for it. And I also believe that the people who directly work next to him, guys like Andrew Colvett, Tyler Boyer, Mikey McCoy, and yes, Erica Kirk, knew what was going to happen. It is my assumption also, based upon more information that is coming out, the leaked tapes of Liz Harrington and some of the conversations that were supposedly internally happening at TPUSA post Charlie's death. Well, as these whistleblowers are starting to let more information go, you can see that that organization in and of itself was 100% totally controlled by Zionists. And when Charlie left that pro-Israel Zionist Greater Israel Project cause, they took him out for it. Now, I want people to think about this in retrospect. They shot at Trump twice, okay, and warned the hell out of him, right? And as you can see now, he's not been as, obtuse with the Israel issue, because I personally think that they had a hand in that. And there's no doubt in my mind that the greatest ally had a hand also in Charlie's assassination. Much like the CIA and Mossad and other intel agencies had something to do with Kennedy's assassination. See, when you don't play by the rules, and you don't play by the way the rules these rule makers have set the game up, which is your intelligence apparatus, well, they have 16 different ways to Sunday, as Chuck Schumer says, to get back at you. And Charlie, unfortunately, they got back at. Trump, they missed by a millimeter. But they told him the next time, hey, we won't miss. And I think this is kind of where you're starting to see the stage, okay? The performance is on. and the performance is going. But if anyone who gets an opportunity to perform on the big stage, you have to play along with the way that the directors of the play say you must act. You can't just go up there and start doing a free-for-all and saying whatever you want to say and being whatever you want to be when they got the biggest stage set up for you. No, they're not going to allow you to do that. Your world, my friends, is controlled by the intelligence apparatus. The CIA, the FBI, the Mossad, all the little three-letter agencies, DARPA, the Pentagon, and many agencies and groups that you don't even know about are weaseling in and creating all of the major problems that you see happening in our world every single day. And because they're happening constantly, you're thinking that this is just crazy people going back. But every time there is a major crisis, anytime there is a major event going on here, it's always about someone trying to yield or stir up to create a possibility for more power or a more power grab. Minneapolis, that's all this is about. You think that this stuff happened organically? No, both sides, your Democrats and Republican senators and representatives, allowed this shit to go on. They could have stopped the border. They could have stopped a lot of this stuff. They could have made it really impossible for the President of the United States to allow 25 million illegals to just come across the border, unvetted and just sent in a city near you. Your government did this. And now we're having issues and people are getting pissed off. It's like, oh, we want all of the people that came into the country to leave now. Yeah, that's how it works. Let me ask you this. If I just shoved a whole bunch of Somalian families into your house and told you that you had to go pay for them and they can just tear your house apart, eat all your food, destroy your entire insides, you're going to put up with that? Nobody would. Nobody in their right mind would put up with that, but yet you can just throw all these people in the middle of Minneapolis or throw them into a big sanctuary city like New York or Philadelphia or Los Angeles or any one of the big blue cities and just look at every one of those cities. Look at every single blue sanctuary city where we've taken shit from around the world and thrown it in there, and you're wondering why everything's going upside down. This has all been done by design. It's all done by design, and what's the hardest part for this, for me to digest and for me to watch every single day, is I'm watching the left versus the right, the dumb liberals in the street and the they're just fighting back and forth with each other, and it's all done by design. You're the fucking retards in the whole situation, because what they've done is they've convinced you that the person across the street is the enemy, and the guy across the street has been convinced that you're the enemy, and you're fighting it out. And you're pissing and beating up on each other and creating the problems that this government and this intelligence apparatus caused in the first place. The system in and of itself is the problem. And you and I are the ones playing along in it. I don't understand how people can't see the psychological operations being forced down their throat every single day. And they just go, oh, that's pretty interesting. Oh, it's all 4D chess, everybody. Just calm down and trust the plan. Stop with the stupidness. I wish people would just stop with the stupidness now. It's getting to a point where you can't even have a conversation with anybody because they don't want to look at the reality for what it is. And when you try to bring it down and show them the stupidity at play, they get a brain cramp. Oh, you're a conspiracy. Dave, you're such a conspiracy guy. You're such a No, I don't give a shit about conspiracies at all. No, I really don't. I only work in one currency, and that's truth. And truth is one of the hardest things to find here because so many people are filled with bullshit. And they just want to sell you some of the bullshit that they have acquired through their life. When you get down to really what people know about this place, they don't know very, very much at all. But they sure as hell like to try to play us off as they do. And they sure as hell like to try to set this stage up in a way that makes you and I be forced to participate in it. And I'm saying, fuck that shit. We are living in a full-on blown psychological operation in which power is constantly being ripped out from us because we are the fucking fools playing the goddamn game every single day on the streets of Minneapolis, overseas in these freaking never-ending wars, across the border, in these stupid sanctuary cities. And nothing ever changes. Nothing ever changes. Why does it never change? Because you and I continue to keep fighting each other. You got idiots on the street of Minneapolis fighting each other, fighting ICE. These people don't belong here. They never did belong here. It's called a color revolution. It's when they take you, the regular citizen, and replace you with some other citizens from a different country. What does that do? It changes the entire culture. It changes the entire electorate. This isn't organic. These aren't organic immigrants coming to the United States to seek asylum. No, this is an organized, well-funded effort to replace you, the American citizen. Why? Because the American citizen is the first class, or it was first class. But they don't want people to be first class. They want you all to be the same, just like every other third world country out there, and the Pan Ams of the world, the upper echelon, the highfalutin, rich bitch morons of the world. They want to sit up on the hill while all of us fight and kill each other over the scraps they leave behind. This is completely and utterly stupid at this point. Turning Point USA is a scam. It is no doubt a money laundering operation to try to bring Zionist big build money into the United States to manipulate, again, more of the American political system. Charlie Kirk realized that. He lost his life for it. Much like Kennedy realized that the mafia was basically running the operation in Washington, D.C. And guess what? When he tried to make any changes to that, they killed him for that too. Because the one thing you always know about a mafia, they'll protect you. They'll take care of you. They'll look out for you. But God forbid you cross them in any way. They'll not only take you out, they'll take your entire livelihood, and they'll take out the family or anybody who is connected to you. This is what they call mob rule. You think we're run by the United States president, the executive legislature? That is just dressing. That is all on paper. That's just show. That just shows, hey, look, we have this set of laws. Look, it's legitimate, everybody. But as you can see, nobody's following any of that. No arrests. All of these crimes that happened. Charlie Kirk was murdered in broad daylight. They got some fucking kid sitting in a courtroom that had nothing to do with it. But everybody's just moved on. We're just going to sweep it under the rug. We're moving on to the next thing. What's next? Oh, we're doing Minnesota now. We're not talking about Charlie. We're dealing with Minnesota. Is anybody going to be charged in Minnesota? Probably not. And if there are going to be a few in between, do you know how many people had to be involved in order for to Minnesota to have 40,000 plus illegal Somalians or more in the state? How'd they get here? Year after year after year, your politicians and your government and the people that fund them allowing this shit to come through. Breaking law after law after law. And is anybody going to be held accountable? Of course not. The 2020 election, stolen. No doubt about it was stolen. Look, they just seized a whole bunch of ballots in Georgia, right? The FBI did, of course. So I don't have any faith that that's going to go anywhere because the FBI, once they get a handle on shit, stuff goes missing and nothing ever happens. But obviously something went on. And anybody who was paying attention kind of knows that Joe Biden didn't win the election. Everybody deep down knows he didn't win it, but is anybody going to be held accountable for him stealing the election and then serving 4 years and driving the country down the shit can? No, nobody's going to be held responsible. Nobody's going to go to jail. We're just going to sweep it under the rug like tisk tisk. That should never have happened. Damn, shame on us. Nobody ever serves. If you or I would have done 1/100th of the shit that this government pulls, we would be thrown in jail and never heard of again. But not here. No. Because these people are better than you. And all of the things that you and I see, it's just part of the drama. You just need to get over it. Whatever they do is okay. Whatever you do is not okay. And if you break the law, we're going to come after you and we're going to destroy you. But these people, they're all protected. They're in a special club. They're all in a special club, and as long as you're willing to be part of the special club and go along with the special club, well, then they'll take care of you. You'll have a good life here. It's like selling your soul, right? As long as you're willing to sell out, they'll protect you here. But if God forbid, you say anything against the mafia, if you do anything against this organized crime syndicate, well, like I said, Chuck Schumer said it on live television. You fuck with the damn National Security Administration, they got 16 different ways to Sunday to get back at you. Why? Why did Chuck Schumer say that? Because he very well knows, just like anybody who's lived in that city for a long enough time, the government doesn't run a goddamn thing. The intelligence apparatuses, the 17 intelligence agencies, and all of the arms within those are what run your country, run your world, create the dramas, the events, and the major issues that you all see, that you think happen organically, but they don't. When we say that the world has become fake and gay, this is exactly what we say. Many of the people that you have in these leadership positions have some kind of sexual perversion, and it's very easy to control people with sexual perversions or perversions in particular, whatever it may be, pedophilia, or they like, some bestiality thing or whatever their crazy perversion is. Those people are the ones we like to put up in the top. Why? Because we can control those people. It's sick. The world is completely disgusting. And we're all told that this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. This, what we have been given, we should be grateful for. You should be grateful. You motherfuckers should be grateful that this is the country you live in. Under what metric? We have a country that's piss poor. We spend more money because we have a Federal Reserve that prints notes out of thin air. We have a government that lies constantly. Lies, and then they lie right to your face, and they don't have that right. They represent you. Okay? They are not supposed to be going in there breaking the law, and they're breaking the law, and they don't give a shit. Like I said, if you or I did 1/100th of the shit that they did, our asses would be thrown in jail and nobody would ever hear of us again. But this is just common everyday occurrence. Same day, business as usual. And nobody's ever held accountable. Why? Because your system isn't what's running this. Your intelligence apparatus, people and names you never even heard of, are the ones controlling it all. That's why once you think one thing's over, they got another fucking explosion happen over here. You can never get your feet settled underneath you. Why? Because they're constantly blowing one landmine up over here, one landmine up over here, to keep you consistently off balance. To keep the left wing, the right wing, constantly arguing with each other. When the right wing and the left wing don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. The people on everybody has got their own opinion about everything, and everybody's stupid about all of the opinions because nobody really knows what the hell they're talking about. It's called the Dunning and Kruger effect. If you ever don't know what the hell that is, look it up. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Listen to what the explanation of that is, and then you listen to the people that you talk to, or if you go to these events, or if you go to any event where you have left-right politics, just listen to the people, not the pundits and the experts and all the other bullshit artists that sit up in front of you. Just listen to the everyday people try to have conversations. Nobody knows what the other side's talking about, and nobody cares to understand what the other side's talking about because they've created this soup bowl of bullshit that nobody can agree on because it's all designed to divide. Before you know it, we're going to argue over what's your favorite color, Dave? Oh, my favorite color is green. Fuck you. Orange is better. I mean, this is the problem. We're getting to a point now we're arguing over what your favorite color is. I thought we were better than this. I thought Americans, just smarter, just common sense. Stop being told what to think and think for your goddamn self for once. Stop buying in to the system that you have been forced to actually breathe and exist in, and change the system yourself. This is garbage. Why anyone goes along with any of this is beyond me. But this is what we got. But if anything, you don't learn anything from this video, learn one thing. What you see, The drama you see up in front of you is a presentation of bullshit. And everything you think you know about that system is completely false. It's completely stacked against you. It's not designed to be understood. It's designed to keep you engaged in it. It's just designed to keep the fear porn going, to keep the constant struggles going, to keep the negative emotions going, to keep you looking at the sunlit uplands. Oh, we can see it. It's all the way up on the hill up there. Oh, we're going to almost get it. We're going to get there, my friends. Oh. Shucks darn shucks, my friends. We're almost there. Not this time. Better luck next time. Play again. Your world is a complete and utter psychological operation. And the only way we ever are going to get a chance to breathe is if all of us wake the fuck up and recognize this isn't for what it is. But that's where my negativity comes in, because I don't think we're going to wake up quick enough before the shit hits the fan and it gets even worse. Look for more false flags on the road, my friends. They're coming up around the corner where everything's itching. It's just getting to a point where you can see that the boil is about ready to burst. We're almost there. So stay tuned. There'll be more to come. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.